Hello and welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Hope everyone is well there. Today in this video, we want to look at exponential functions once again. I've got the following graph here, which is an exponential graph. The Cartesian plane y and the x-axis. So my exponential graph is this one here, and it passes through point 2 and 1, and also passes through the point of origin, which is our point 0. And we do have this 1 over 3, which is a third. Okay, so with that information from this graph, the question says determine the equation of the given graph. It means we are given this graph, but it doesn't have an equation, it doesn't have a name, and we want to give it a name. So we want to write that name or the name of the equation in this form: y is equal to a times b to the power of x plus q. Let's go straight into it. When given such, how do we do it? First things first is we need to identify what our asymptote is. If we look into that graph, we can see that we have an asymptote here. What is an asymptote? Our asymptote is this line here where the graph approaches but it doesn't touch. This graph just approaches this line, but it never touches this one till eternity or to infinity. So our asymptote is y is equal to minus 3. So I'm going to write asymptote. Our asymptote in this case is y is equal to minus 3. Sorry, minus a third. This is a negative third. So what do we do with this information? With this information here, we're going to take this value of asymptote and substitute it into the equation, the general form of the equation. So the general form of the equation is y is equal to a b to the power of x plus q. We know what q is now. Q is that. So we're going to add a negative a third. If you say plus a third plus a negative a third, this is what you get. Okay, as you can see, what is our next step? Our next step is to identify a certain point, and we need to find a point. In this case, yes, we do have a point here, but preferably I would like to start by this point here. This point here is 0 and 0. So if I identify any point, I can substitute it into this equation. Let's do that. Let me write substitute point 0 and 0 into the equation, into the equation. Okay. Now, this point 0, 0, which is our point of origin, what does it say? It means that this is an x value and this is our y value. It means, therefore, when I have to rewrite this equation here, my y, I'm not going to write y as it is, but I would rather take this 0 because I know also it is a y. So I'll write it in place of the y. So I'll say 0 is equal to, I'll continue, that's my equal sign, a b to the power of x. I'll come back here to my point that I'm substituting. My x value is 0, so I'll write a 0 here minus a third, like this. And what does this mean now? It means 0 is equal to a to the power of 0. It means any number that is raised to the power of 0, we all know that the number is 1. And then my minus a third. So this now becomes 0 is equal to a minus a third. Okay, a times 1 is a. So I'm going to take this to the other side of the equation. It becomes a positive a third, because if this crosses over this sign, it becomes a positive. So a is equal to a third. Okay, so that is it. I have substituted this, and what is my next step? I'm going to take this a here, value which is a third, and substitute again into the equation. So I'll have y is equal to a, I know a is a third, times b to the power of x minus a third, like this. And now, having come here, if we look at this equation, we are not done yet. If we're going to look at this expression here, some of you might say, okay, we are done, but we are not done yet because we still have a b here. And when we look at exponential functions, we do not write exponential functions in the form of b. When it's actually when it's a real exponential equation, when it becomes an equation, we don't leave it in the general form. We would rather write as a number like this: y is equal to 3 to the power. There has to be a number here, so we need to find what that number is now. And how do we go about finding the number? We once again look at another particular point, which in this case we have got 2 and 1. So we are going to come back here, we rewrite our equation to say y is equal to a third b to the power of x minus a third. We substitute. Let's substitute again 2 and 1, which is this point. And we know this number is representing an x and this one is representing a y. So I'm going to take this point and substitute into our equation. So when our y is equal to 1, I'm going to write 1 is equal to, and when our x is equal to 2, it means I'll have a third, I'll have a b here, and I'll have a 2 here, because our x is 2, our x is 2 minus a third, like this. Okay, so this is what I have now. I'm going to get rid of these are fractions. I'm going to get rid of the denominator. Let me try to, I'm going to rewrite this for the sake of explaining. See how I wrote this. I specify 1 and this one here. I wrote it here. I left some space here. Okay, I just want to do this to multiply by 3 here, by 3 here, by 3, by 3 here, because I'm using this 3. Okay, so this, when I multiply by 3 everywhere, it means I'm getting rid of the denominator. So that this one times this one is equal to b squared minus this one times this one is equal to 1, and this one times this one is equal to 3. Right. So from here, it means that I can take my 3 to the other side of the equation. If I take 3 to the other side of the equation, it will be, I will be left with nothing here. So b squared minus 1 minus 3. So 0 is equal to b squared minus 4, like this. Okay. Let me just write 1 like that here so that I can create some space. Now this means I will have b squared minus 4 is equal to 0. I just rewrote this one starting with a 0. Okay, this is the difference of two squares. I can simplify brackets by b is equal to 0, b minus 2, b plus 2, like this, b minus 2, b plus 2. So either b plus 2 is equal to 0 or b minus 2 is equal to 0. So b is equal to 2, negative 2, or b is equal to 2. At this stage now, what it means is I found the value of b. But b, in this case, either our b is negative or either our b is positive. Which of you guys can choose? We know that this right side of the equation of our graph is positive. So our b has got to be positive. That's why we are not taking this one. Now that we have a value of b, which we said we need to find, we go back into our equation to substitute to say y is equal to a third b, which is we're going to pick from the positive b to the power of x. What is my x? Okay, x is a variable minus 1 over, okay, for those who are following very well, I'm not going to write my b as it is because we already find what b is. So we're going to write times 2 to the power of x like that. So in this case, this brings us to the end of this equation. We say determine the equation. Determine the equation. In other words, it means find the equation, which is this one. We had to find the equation. Just a recap of what we went through. First, we need to find our asymptote. When we find our asymptote, we are going to substitute it as the first thing into our equation, and then we look for a point, which is this point here. We substitute once again here. Now we are finding what a is. So we find what a is, and then a brought us here to 1 is equal to third e to the power of x minus a third. But this one is not complete because we know that in exponential function, this doesn't have to be a variable, it has to be a digit. So we further substitute a point again, 2 and 1. We did that, and it brought us here where we had to use difference of two squares. We factorize the brackets. We have b is equal to minus 2 or b is equal to 2, but we chose to take the b which is positive because the b which is negative is supposed to be here and our graph is not there. Our graph is, this point is on positive. So that's all we have in this video. I hope you guys will like it. Please don't forget to show some love by subscribing. You may click the subscription button. Stay tuned for more. Cheers.